living by our means. The people who are supposed to curtail this is the Senate, the legislators. But will they? It's like every bill, every loan that has been sent to the Senate, they are just approving it. So how do we curb, or how do we spend prudently if the people who you send this bill to will just sign it and say, okay, go ahead and borrow?
I don't think the Minister of Budget and National Planning, including all the heads that we have surrounding the president and the ministries, department and agencies in building this, does not have an idea or does not know what the principle or the basic principle of bookkeeping is. We had very intelligent human beings and we still had 2 world wars.
This is SOUQ business landscape.
2026 budget plan is splitting lawmakers amid concerns over rising debt. The federal government proposed 54.46 trillion budget for 2026 has sparked real divisions in the National Assembly as lawmakers clash over the revenue assumption. In the 2026-2028 medium-term expenditure framework, the sharp disagreements emerged during debates on the framework, with some lawmakers questioning their sustainability of borrowing plans that are expected to finance over 30% of the budget. Economics have cautioned that the heavy reliance on debt could worsen Nigeria's fiscal position, deepening the country's debt and pushing us in the debt trap and exposing weak legislative scrutiny over federal borrowing. Okay, now we tried talking about this issue two days ago.
Yes.
On Monday to be precise. Yeah, on Monday to be precise. And here we are again, staring us in the face. All because of what we heard coming out from Wale Edun 2 days ago.
Yes.
And now we are at this juncture again. Budget 54.46. Proposed and projected revenue 34.33.
Yes.
Deficit 20. Debt service 15.5. Now we are looking at almost 30% or a little above 30% borrowing to fund the budget.
Yes.
At the rate at which we are going, are we not looking at complete reliance on borrowing to fund budget if we continue like this way?
It's quite, I don't want to put the word sad, but let's backtrack to yesterday and what happened day before yesterday. Now, according to Wale Edun, he said that the revenue generated for 2025 was what was used for 2024 and 2025, and they could only accomplish 30% of 2025. Thereby, it means that 70% or 75% or more will be pushed to 2026. So, what is going to happen to 2024? Have we even taken account of what happened in 2024, and were we able to finish 2024 and close that chapter and say, okay, 2025, okay, we could not finish this, we'll move all that. Let's not also forget that we have a debt of about 121 trillion.
Do you mean to say that what we generated in 2025 was this at all?
Yes,
2024
and 2025, 30%.
2024 and 2025.
Yes.
Some parts of 2024 and some parts of 2025. And that's the reason why these budgets were running concurrently, which is even one of the reasons that is splitting the National Assembly into the 2 different parts. Sorry, I interrupted you. Sorry.
So, I mean, public debt stood at 121 trillion as of mid-2025, and it continues to grow. And just like Chuk said, are we going to rely heavily on borrowing? Now, there are 2 conflicting reports. September report from our president suggested that non-oil export had gone through the roof and we might not need to borrow. Then we got another report. So, which are we? That is what I think that's part of the reason that is dividing the house. That which report are we going to believe? Because is it that maybe, just maybe, they weren't trying to say what they said or what Nigerians interpreted that, oh, we had made so much money, we don't need to borrow, or maybe they were just trying to sugarcoat every other thing. And now when, the cat's out of the bag, the bubbles has been burst, they just have to come out and tell us the truth. But the truth about it is now, how do we ensure that the revenue that we're projecting for 2026, we are able to achieve it? Also, any loan that we're going to take for 2026, let's tie it to a project, a revenue generating project. I would always go for real.
Okay. Is it possible? I'm just talking like a layman. Is it possible for us to live within our means?
It is possible.
Is it
but
possible
prayer would always come from the angle
budget?
that every country borrows. Every country needs to borrow.
Is it possible for us to go back to this particular budget and tinker it and tell ourselves, okay, what are the capital projects? Stop it. What are the current expenditure. Okay, out of this recurrent, what can we do without? What is the government spending? What amount are we spending on governance?
When you talk about expenditure, the people who are guilty, are culpable of this, we know them, the greenhouse. Look at what they are spending. Every year in, year out, they get larges. I mean, we remember the token saga. What happened? It was changed to prayers. We remember the bulletproof cars. We even remember the renovation of the vice president's residence. There are so many expenditures like that. At the beginning of this administration, the president was advised to operate a leaner ministry, but ministries were merged, created, a lot of things have gone on. So living by our means, the people who are supposed to curtail this is the Senate, the legislators, but will they? It's like every bill, every loan that has been sent to the Senate, they are just approving it. Remember the $500 million that was sent to the Senate? I think it was, I don't know whether it's approved or not. But so how do we curb, or how do we spend prudently if the people you send this bill to will just sign it and say, okay, go ahead and borrow?
Okay, let's come to you now. Budgeting is a continuum. It's not indefinite. It's a continuum. And you close books, you carry over, you open books. Why are we having budget run concurrently? Something that is not done even in elementary economics.
Oh, it's the economist. Now, first of all, I want to quickly make a correction. When the president said we have made some form of money in our non-oil exports and we may not need to borrow, it says that the non-oil revenue has significantly grown in 2025 with strong increases in collections from taxes, from FIRS, the value-added tax, leading officials,
and customs.
Like President Tinubu to claim the 2025 revenue target was met. And Nigeria isn't borrowing from local banks. Not that the administration is not going to borrow again. Yes, we are not going to be, patronizing loans from local financial institutions.
Upgrade.
Yeah, but it did not, the way you said it now, it did not come out from the president that way. Right. That's what communication is all about.
Yes.
So that communication did not come out
I don't think
clear
the president
this way.
will come out and say, we've made so much money in the country from non-oil exports and we may not need to borrow again. I don't think the president will make such a statement.
He shouldn't.
And so I'm glad that you were just making reference if that statement was. So that's one. Okay. Two,
bring the chicken home to us.
You asked a question, and why budgets run concurrently? Chooks, even off camera, we had a conversation about this, and we spoke that previous governments before now, when we start talking about budget performance, budget implementation, before now, we've not been seeing the implementation and budget performance at a state or at a level that is even more appreciable. Because most times if we assess our budget and we're looking at budget performance, most economists will assess Nigeria that we are below 50% budget performance, and the implementation has not been very encouraging. And sometimes even those projects that have not been attended to, that have not been executed or implemented, some of which money would have been disbursed and allocated, or probably when the monies were released, it was late. They had to return the money back, and that returning money forth and back before leaving those budgets to go and replan new budget for the next annual year, as a way of some unscrupulous elements in the system use it as a vehicle to change the government.
Why do you have the ICPC? Can they do their job?
So I'm making references to previous administrations, and now the current administration came and looked at the environment, like, okay, I think it would be okay or nice with the many abandoned projects that we're having across the Federal Capital Territory and other geopolitical zones, which are federal government projects that were that have been initiated but has not been completed or concluded.
Okay.
So I think that's one of the reasons, I think, why the administration feels, okay, we can roll over the budget to next year, to the next.
Okay.
I'm coming. So that we do not have where we have projects being abandoned.
Okay.
So that we don't have issues where projects are being abandoned.
Okay.
And if we have a new project, we are going to look at the viability. At least, first of all, let's conclude the ones we have on ground before we go to the next one. And the next one, some which are in 2025, which is the subsequent year, or 2026, as the case may be. So if we are not done with this, why must we go to this? Because if we go to this, we'll be abandoning this.
Okay.
Why can't we use part of the revenue to take care of this and roll over?
Okay. Oyipuri,
No, does that make some sense?
Now hold on. Before it makes sense, you make a lot of sense. Forget about what you're saying. You make sense on your own. Now let's get to this budget issue. Now, for a project, it doesn't matter how big or how small the project is. There's always a time frame.
Yes.
Good. And there's money put down for that particular project. Now, if in 2022, I'm just giving an example, we are building a road from here to Damaturu, and it will take us 5 years to build that road. And a budget has been made for that particular road. If in 2022, monies were released for that particular road, all what we need to do is tell the people or tell whoever is concerned, this is how much it's going to cost us to build this road from this time to this time. If we release the entire money, then what is left is investigation, monitoring, and make sure it's done with time. Now, if we don't release the entire money for the road, we know what we release in 2022. 2023, we don't need to roll over. We continue from where we stopped in 2022. It's a new fiscal year. We continue till we are done. We don't need to carry over the running 2022. 2023, 2024. It's very confusing. And how do you now come out and explain it? Okay. It's called a budget. You start, you end.
Finish.
If what is not done in the previous year, you take it over to the next year. Budget for it based on what you did last year. You just continue from there. But having 22, it's very confusing. 20. And it opens up the avenue for people to really do the unscrupulous stuff you're talking about.
Let's look at an example vividly before us.
Okay.
Make references to Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
Okay.
When was that project initiated?
Okay.
I'm coming.
You know that Lagos-Ibadan Expressway has really been a source of corruption in this country.
Oh, please, Chooks, wait. Do you agree with me? Just a moment. Lagos-Ibadan Expressway project was initiated by a specific administration. Who concluded it?
Who
concluded it?
Lagos-Ibadan Expressway has been in the budget since the days of Obasanjo. Great. It's been in the budget every single year.
Till when? Because I don't think it's in the budget now. Buhari concluded, right? So now look at the time space. But even if we don't look at the time space, and we're saying, okay, this road is going to take 7 years to be built or 8 years to be built, that we're looking at 2 administrations.
Okay.
At the most, we're looking at 2 administrations, and they have to be consistent. Now, I'm not ruling out the fact that what you mentioned will come to play with regards to contractors and the agreement they reached with the government when the bidding process was on. And we also remember vividly when that road was on, there were changes to the terms of that specific project, because they tell you that was the time where we do not have where the exchange had not been floated, where the dollar and co had not been floated. So if the government said, okay, we are budgeting XYZ at the dollar rate of XYZ at this moment in time, and they are on it, and whenever there is a fluctuation and the dollar has skyrocketed, they go back to have this conversation on the table again, because it now had a very critical influence on how much they've budgeted for the project. Those are part of the reasons why
can we bring it
now? Bring it home now. The Lagos to Calabar Coastalway. How much is the budget? How much is the budget for that road?
When was it initiated?
No. So how much is the budget for that road? Number one, how long is it going to take for that road to be completed?
We don't need to roll over.
So in that specific case, it is the specific number of kilometers that the project or the the contractor will be able to finish, which has been calculated. and planned in a specific budget year that will be planned for and paid, and probably you have subsequent years are going to be taken care of. Now, in case there are contingencies and they were unable to cover that within a specific period of time, those shortcomings also and those lapses may be factored in the subsequent
Let's
year.
not forget money was borrowed for that.
Yes, money was budgeted. So some of these contingencies.
We're almost saying the same thing, but in different ways. If we start a year budget by January 1st, by December 31st, we end it and start the new fiscal year budget. Whatever wasn't done or budgeted for or is still in progress in the previous year, we end it. That is called bookkeeping. And we now push where we are going to start from the next year into the next year's budget.
I don't think the Minister of Budget and National Planning, including all the eggheads that we have surrounding the President and the Ministries, Department and agencies in building this, does not have an idea or does not know what the principle or the basic principle of bookkeeping is. Those jokes, if you look at public finance, these are not your elementary bookkeepings that were taught in primary 3 or in GSS 3.
Let's not take this conversation in that light.
Because we say this is bookkeeping. No, it's not bookkeeping.
We had very intelligent human beings, and we still had 2 world wars. So let's not go there.
So now you know it is not as simple as the bookkeeping you're talking about.
It doesn't matter who is in that space.
Yes.
They should do the right thing. Forget about how old they are or what they schooled. We had the best economics in this country, and we still had SOUQ.
When talking about doing the right thing, you know that when projects of this magnitude are being executed, there are some unforeseen circumstances that will rear their head and they will affect it. And also know that the monies that will be used to sponsor this budget or this project, not all of it are available at hand.
Yes,
so you can see that the chances why some of these concerns are going to happen are just obviously
that is why you have audit reviews.
Exactly. Because those audits and reviews are what informed some of these rollovers that we're experiencing to make things better.
So what he's trying to say is, at the end of the year, end it.
Roll it over to the next year.
Simple.
Is that not what the current administration is doing?
No, we are running concurrent budgets.
3 concurrent budgets.
Running 3 concurrent, but you said it. If those projects does not have to be left behind or to be abandoned in the previous year.
We don't abandon projects.
So what is roll over and stop and continue?
Hello, we don't right now.
Because when you say stop, you are not. No. What is this stop? You mean termination of that?
No.
So why do you have to
terminate
stop?
the budget?
No.
Terminate the budget
we're talking about.
Yes.
So the project is running on that budget.
Hold on, Priya. You don't understand. Now see, there is a 2026 budget. The coastal road is in 2026 budget. And the 2027 budget that we're expecting the coastal road to finish by 2028, the coastal road will be on that particular budget. Wherever they stop this year,
is that a rollover?
Hold on, Priya. Wherever they stop this year, that is where they stop for the budget of 2026. When we are continuing 2027 budget, the budget from where they stopped, what they've spent and what is left over.
Yes.
Exactly what is happening.
Hold on. But right now, what we are being told until we see clarification, they are telling Nigerians that we are running this budget.
It is the use of words. It is just the use of words. It's not about budgets running.
Then make it.
It is just the use of words.
Good. It's not a user because Wale Edu said it. That it was 20. It's 20 money generated from 2025. They could not even run 100% of 2025 budget.
Those projects that were in 2024.
Yes.
Do they need to be taken care of or should they be abandoned?
It should have been taken care of.
It should have been no projects that have spanned more than 1 year, that span more than 2 years. How can you take care of that within the place of just one?
We are saying the same thing in different ways.
Okay, so now you know it is the use of words.
End 2024 budget. That fiscal year has ended. Our next book is 2025. Every single project that spanned more than a year should be, wherever it stopped, is included in 2025. That is why
the revenues that are generating in 2025 for which projects that are running in 2024 are currently still ongoing and that has not been completed, we still have to use to facilitate the completion of those projects. It is just the use of words.
Okay, while we align ourselves and try to clarify this use of words, we also need this direct clarification from those in places of authority. When it comes to revenue generation, in the last 3 days, we've seen a lot of discrepancies. Wale Edu came and told us 10 point something is what the federal government made. Now we are seeing 13 point something. We need a lot of this clarification because it helps people outside to be able to deliberate, plan, and also see the government in a better light and not cast aspersions.
Okay,
because
so
that
Chooks,
is what.
Chooks, I think we should also know that with regards to what we're saying, 2025, right? The crude, the budgets when it was specified, and how when they put our revenue target, they said $75 for the barrel of crude. Now look, what has the government done in the medium-term expenditure framework? There's a target until 2028. There are different revenues or how much that we have, by the instrument of forecast, how we are going to sell a barrel of crude. It was $64 in 2026 budget.
Yeah, 64
It has now been moved to $60 per barrel. And for 2027, it has been moved to about $64. 2028, it has been moved to about between $64, $68, and $75, $75 thereabout. So you can see that every budget already has its specification for that purpose. And it's always going to affect our revenue because who knows, in 2026, we are looking at $60 per barrel. It may shoot up to about $70 per barrel. That would mean more revenue for the government and our ability to be able to meet our revenue target for the year. Now, 30%.
Should we at this point in time still be this much dependent on oil?
Of course not. That is why we're making some form of gains in the non-oil export in the country.
The non-oil export we are looking at is majorly customs.
Customs.
And okay, now tax is coming up for next year.
In fact,
we should start looking at projections for tax itself.
Chooks, if you say just mere customs,
it's majorly customs.
By the time it has been fully digitalized, you will know that customs will bring more, 3 times than what is currently bringing into the country. And with what being the former Osun State governor, who is now the Minister of Blue and Marine Economy, said that we need to decongest the ports in Lagos so that we can also focus in the Niger Delta and other places where we have ports.
Okay.
We should call him to put those words, not just those words, action. We need to not only see a plan, and for us being sold those words, we need to see work currently on ground. We need to see those projects concerning ports, seaports outside the southwest, outside Lagos, getting serious budgetary allocation attention.
Are we looking at budgetary allocation, or want to see that particular ministry tell us that okay, at the end of this quarter we generated this amount of money, or we're able to bring this idea to fruition, or this is the amount of investment we've done to the country?
Tell us, fine. Show us, demonstrate that those ports in Warri, in Delta State, in all those areas, not only in the southern part of the country, in the southeast, and also the one in the northern part of the country, want to see them work. Because their economic effect, when we start talking about industrialization and manufacturing, is beyond what we're even planning for.